Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered to induct the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, you might say, can be unhinged at times, rocks hard, and can be a mauler. But when I think about the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, he might be getting inducted, you might say, for the many sides of who he is, as you just never know what side of Castelli is coming next. I mean, after all, they used to say you get the three faces of Foley or the three sides of Foley, but this guy, I've lost count on how many sides he might have. But however, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame has established himself in a mainstay in several of the premier wrestling promotions around in the United States, such as VTW, which his most recent show Reunion had, I repeat, 1,100 plus views in a few short days. NUW, where he's been the New York champion and still is the New York champion. Of course, our friends over at Dominant Breakout Wrestling. I can't forget about them. And Amplified Wrestling, which I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about here in a little while, especially with his opponent. We've already had on not once but twice who may say he's a V to the H. I mean, after all, shouldn't our newest member of the Sportswire Radio of the Hall of Fame be inducted for his many sides? After all, I mean, who can we know of that has been in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame that has made multiple appearances in a Rumble? I mean, come back to me and I'll certainly maybe come up with an answer. Not tonight, at least. Find me or someone in this Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, though, that I've had the good fortune to watch, who's done so many great things. And for me, it's not just about what he's done inside the ring. It's about what he'll do in the future for everything that he's done. I believe that the qualifications of any Hall of Fame for any type of thing is how you conduct yourself inside and outside the ring, but also making those around you better. And I think over the biggest 5 years that I've been doing this here in Sportswire Radio throughout my career, I believe that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame has not only improved his own career, but he's also improved those who he's been in the ring with. And I think that that is the biggest qualification that anybody can say about somebody, whether it's about wins, losses, championships, or being inducted into our own Hall of Fame. I would also say that when I induct our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame here shortly, he's also entertained me over the past year for, well, he's a vlogger, which you can find him on YouTube, and we'll certainly plug that throughout the show. And he goes and travels all across the United States, the Mid-Atlantic, and he shares some of his favorite places. He even reads a book or two in between. He travels and meets the animals, and you know, he certainly does it with his better half, but he also does it with a smile and also reminds me that, well, I need to travel a lot more. Maybe I should get off the screen here on Sportswire Radio and maybe travel a bit. But that's why I'm not in the Hall of Fame. But our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, well, and he's got some pretty cool stories about places he's traveled. I'm tongue-twisted, ladies and gentlemen, just about how much I've spoke about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame because he entertains me so much. But despite all of that, I truly believe that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, as I stated, not for what he's done and all the different promotions that he's part of, and after all the many characters he's played, or maybe he might be, and who knows what'll be next. I mean, I don't want to certainly tip my hand, or maybe he'll tip his hand. I don't know, but I really believe that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame will be in our Hall of Fame multiple times over because of what he will do in the future and maybe what he'll do outside of the wrestling world, because he's one of the more talented individuals that I've met in my 5 years in doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on and on and on about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And I probably will go on and on and on and on about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But we're inducting here, ladies and gentlemen, our third member of the fifth class and the 43rd member officially of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame as a mauler, a vlogger who rocks hard, who might even be unhinged, but is probably also, according to some, might even be a sneaky Pete. But now I think it's time to officially congratulate our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our third member of the fifth class, and the 43rd member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. I'm not quite sure which name I should give him, so I'm just going to officially congratulate him as Brandon Castelli. But, Brandon, before I officially induct you into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, just like many of the previous members of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, especially some people you know, like the Bitcoin billionaire Chase Wakefield or the It Factor Cyrus, and you know, some other names you've probably watched here on this platform over these past several months and over throughout the 5 years I've been doing this here on Sportswire Radio throughout all of our platforms. It is time for you now to get that introduction that you've heard many times here on this platform and your appearances. And like I said, many of your colleagues, certainly in this Hall of Fame and in the DBW locker room, the VTW locker room, I suppose the NUW locker room, and any other locker room you might be a part of. So let's get right to it and give you that introduction. And also, especially because your opponent this Saturday is here right now listening, who's the V to the H, and he's certainly, I'm sure, ready for this, as we all are. So let's get right to it. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one, Global Sports Show, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our third member of the fifth class, and our 43rd member, and a man who has many sides, so I'll just specifically call him Brandon Castelli. My friend, congratulations. You're officially now a member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame.
Tom, it's an absolute honor. Thank you for that introduction. It's always amazing listening to it and now being a part of it again.
Although I do have to say, before we actually officially ask you that and get to comments, I've really got to do a better way to kind of do these speeches, because, you know, I'm looking at this loose leaf paper and I can't read my chicken scratch. You know, I was working on this for like an hour, but in a way it kind of worked out. You're really supposed to be on an hour ago, but it actually worked out better in a way. But I was reading my notes, and you know what? I have to find a better way. I really hate the teleprompter thing, because, you know, we hate it in music, how people do teleprompters and they forget the lyrics. I have to find a better way to do these. But you know what? We'll certainly figure it out. I'm sure I'll do many more of these. We've got a couple of them coming up here very soon. But obviously, Brandon, it is so good to be with you. I hope these experiences on Sportswire were better than the podcast you did once upon a time with an individual years ago. And they had a different look, a different hairstyle. So hopefully, at the very least, you like coming on Sportswire compared to that one you did.
Absolutely. It's 100 times better. And I love being on Sportswire anytime you want me to be on it.
You know, it was funny. We were actually talking about that off the air. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, maybe I should bring it up. And you were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And, you know, that's what we kind of do here. But Brandon, I guess I should ask you, before I certainly get to that man that you're facing less than 48 hours from now, who is a V to the H, but I have to officially ask you now, how does it feel to be into the Sportswire Radio's Hall of Fame?
Honestly, it feels surreal to me. never thought that I would get the honor of being on the Hall of Fame here. There's a lot of people that I feel like deserve it more than myself. So it's definitely very humbling to join the ranks there. And hopefully I continue to exemplify the Hall of Fame there and do you proud and make myself worthy of being on that. So
No. Listen. I mean, listen. I guess the running joke is if Chase Wakefield's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, shouldn't you be in the Hall of Fame?
oh well, all right. If you bring it up like that, then yes. I
Yeah, I'm goofy. Actually, I have to give Chase a big shout out because actually, I should say this now. On March 16th, I think a little after 10 o'clock, I am actually going to do commentary because we've actually started to do commentary on Sportswire Live. I'm actually going to go back with Chase and watch one of his matches upcoming. So stay tuned for that. But actually, so I can't knock Mr. Wakefield too much. And also, certainly the It Factor Cyrus is in our Hall of Fame. DVG is in the Hall of Fame. So the Blaze Ace Christian's taking his place in history. Man, you saw it in the VTW Rumble, youngest Rumble winner in history. He's going to be here to take his place in history. So I have no doubt that you're going to do us all proud. And again, a lot of people are in the Hall of Fame. But I think the Hall of Fame isn't about wins and losses. I don't think it's about championships. I don't think it's about, all these stats. Because in my opinion, in wrestling, yes, they're important. But really, to me, it's about how you make others around you better and how you exemplify what it is to be a professional. And I think that, again, just my little old me opinion. What do I know? I think you've done that. I think you have exemplified a professional. You have exemplified always going out there, giving it your best. You have also been a mainstay in many promotions. I think that takes a lot of work, a lot of time. You have sacrificed a lot in your life, obviously, to do these things. And I believe that all wrestling matters on Sportswire Radio. I believe that as your voice of all wrestling, that you are absolutely worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. You are absolutely worthy to be next to the likes of Dean Allmark, the natural-born fighter, R.P. Davis, next to the likes of James Barris, the owner of Cutlery Championship Wrestling, Ronnie Thatcher, the gentleman thug, Luke Leyland, the first ever person to have fought in Dombe from the United Kingdom and has went to the African Warriors Fighting Championships in Nigeria. Also, Danny Burns played in the NCAA Final Four. So you belong with those names. And I also want to get to some comments here and specifically get to somebody else real quick because he only has a few minutes here. I've heard through a birdie, and I want to actually get you a chance to make sure you could speak to him, Mr. V to the H, Mr. Van Hansen, and he says Tom Bryce not in the Hall of Fame yet. Yeah, I guess my running joke has been kind of like that guy with 3 initials who had a Hall of Fame, but now we can't talk about him anymore because he did some really bad things in the world, and we don't want to certainly bring his name up, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. Now, certainly, I thankfully haven't done those things, but maybe that's why I'm not in the Hall of Fame, but he wants to say, congratulations, Brandon, but I think we need to amp up our match up a little bit. I now officially make our match the Sportswire Showcase match. Now, I know Mr. V2H is a busy man right now, but do you have any words for Mr. V2H? Because, this all started months ago when you called out a man. He's had a long-time relationship with Indoken, and he came on here and had a different attitude here on Tuesday, Van Hansen, with Kid Mike. And I give you the opportunity because we gave 2 shots for Van Hansen to respond, and before Saturday night, it's your turn.
Appreciate that. And the only thing I will say is we do agree on one thing, and that's Tom should be in the Hall of Fame. For sure. I agree on that. And let's make our match a Sportswire Showcase match. Let's do it. Your former partner, he ran away. He didn't want to face me when I challenged him. So after this weekend, when I run you out of Amplified, I guess all that's left for me is to just take that championship off of Mr. Judgment. So I hope you're ready. This showcase match. I'm excited for it. I'm excited
about it. I'm excited about it also, but it's interesting that Mr. Van Hansen said almost the same words about you about 48 hours ago. So it sounds like to me now, again, I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know the outcome. And the only way you can, at this point, go and see the outcome is to actually go to the show itself. And we're going to plug that in a little while. But is it sounding like, to me, Brandon Castelli. Simply put, Brandon Castelli, because you have so many names, so many sides. I'm just going to call you Brandon Castelli for the moment. Is Amplified and Enterprise Wrestling big enough for you and Mr. V to the H Van Hansen?
Big enough?
Yeah, is it big enough for you, the two of you? Yeah.
No, I guess not. I guess this was going to happen, and we'll see if that venue is big enough to hold us. And I have no problem. We could fight in the parking lot. We could fight down the street. We can brawl all the way back to Dunmore, Pennsylvania, or we'll even go down to the DBW arena and brawl. That's fine with me. One of us has to leave, and it's not going to be me.
Interesting. And, an individual, Kid Mike, probably heard of him pretty well. And, he's been a linchpin, obviously the SSW heavyweight champion of the world. He was the ultra violent champion at the same time. Are you concerned about the Murder City Hit Squad and maybe the numbers game? And even, Mr. V to the H also referenced on Tuesday's show, your better half, your fiance. How did that make you feel?
Obviously, it piqued my curiosity that he would bring her up, but
why do you think he did that, by the way?
I think it's because he's scared. He's scared of what she's capable of. Every time that she's gotten involved before, she's laid somebody out. She laid out Roland Havoc and eliminated him from a Rumble.
I remember
She
it.
laid out Ace
here on the show. Remember that too.
And she helped me bring down Judgment.
I was going to bring that up next. Yeah.
If I was Van Hansen, I would certainly be nervous or even hesitant about her involvement. So, yeah, I would bring her up. Maybe he's thinking that maybe I'll forget to have her come out with me. But you should always keep an eye out because sometimes she hasn't been by my side and she's come out through the crowd, through the back, through anywhere. So I would keep your eyes peeled, Hansen. And as far as the rest of your posse there, let's just say I have a plan B in case Nix isn't there to help me. I won't go into too much more detail, but let's just...
We don't want to spoil it. We don't want to spoil it. We don't want to spoil it because we want people to actually watch the show, and we certainly want, if there is a ticket or two, if I'm going to put it out there on the record, because I know obviously I've already donated 2 tickets, but I will actually donate one more ticket. So if you are we're this close to selling out, I want to put it out there on the record. We're almost there, so I'm going to get you over to the finish line. So if you're out there and you want to go, I'm off. When we're off the air, I'm going to make sure one more person gets a chance to go see this, because this is a match. I do have a feeling that it may not be big enough for the two of you and Amplified much longer. So that's the way I see. But, Van Hansen is obviously, he's mixed it up with females before. I'm sure you've heard of Lydia Myers. I'm sure you know Lydia Myers very well. And Lydia Myers actually referenced Sportzwire yesterday. And maybe that's a possibility that Lydia Myers comes on to the show one of these days and maybe talks about Mr. V to the H. But would you be concerned, though, if your better half, your fiance, something would happen to her, if she would be there in the ring? Because we have seen her mix it up, and sometimes it hasn't gone the way the two of yous have hoped. And there's a lot on the line here coming up this Saturday.
I mean, you're right. There definitely is a lot on the line, and our plans haven't always, worked out 100% there, but she's a tough chick.
Oh, I've seen it. I've watched her on DBW TV, and I've definitely seen it.
She can handle herself.
I wouldn't mess. Listen, she would take me down quicker than a New York Minute. So, I mean, I would be the first to admit that.
Well, let's hope that never happens. But
I hope so too. But I don't want it to happen. So that's why I'm saying, I know my lane.
Appreciate it, but I'm just saying she's a tough chick, and she's taken a couple bumps and bruises there, so I'm not going to say that she can't handle it. Anything that comes her way, I know she's more than capable of taking care of it. So
Let me
I'm not
ask
too
you,
worried about her.
and we'll certainly find out that. And of course, if you want to follow Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling, Facebook Enterprise Amplified Wrestling, I will put up on the screen here in a little while some links to some different merchandise and such that you can actually find, because we have to share the screen, but which I figured out after like 2 years of doing these on StreamYard, actually how to use it. So, which is why we're streaming matches now on Sportswire. But okay, let me ask you though. I know we've spoke a lot about Nyx in the past, but as we've seen her more integrated, maybe you want to say, and especially matches like this, do you give her any advice? Does she ask you for advice now that she's become more integrated? I mean, talk to me if you want to about that.
So when it comes to that, we're two parts of the same whole. So there have been times where I've maybe planted a suggestion her way or advised her on something, but she operates of her own volition. So, if she comes running out, we're kind of on the same page here, and I'll know to capitalize off what she's doing. So, I'm pretty sure somebody said on commentary before, she's sort of like a shark circling in the water there.
Yeah.
And, I kind of let her do her own thing there,
That's a fair assumption. Now, I think an interesting point here was made by a man I just referenced, Mr. Kid Mike. And when you cut your promo about this match when it was first announced, I think almost 2 months ago now, from the tone then to the tone now, you do seem different. I mean, what am I getting? What side of Castelli? I mean, literally. I mean, I think this is a valid point by Mr. Kid Mike. I mean, you do seem different.
That's fair.
Why? Why do you seem different?
Well, I feel like I'm being very cordial, very professional. I
know it can't just be because you're in the Hall of Fame. There has to be something else.
I have to hold myself to a higher standard now, Tom. I'm part of the Hall of Fame now. I can't let such trivial things get me riled up anymore.
On Sportswire, people they want to see you riled up. You're the mauler after all.
You're right.
You have been in wars with Roland Havoc, Mr. Judgment, the Blaze Ace Christian, Chase Wakefield. You were in the Dawn's March. I mean, people they want to see you worked up. Come on,
right.
Mister.
You're right. I think though they should be more worried about me being as calm as I am. I feel like there's something more unsettling and more distressing of someone that can bite your face off that's not talking to you like a wild animal. And I feel like I vented enough of my frustrations in my challenge to Hansen. And now I can be perfectly calm when I say this Saturday, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to run you out of Amplified. I'm going to be the last man standing. And then we will take control of Amplified. And I'll leave it like that.
Well, I find that fascinating because he's the owner of Amplified. So you mean to tell me that we...
Oh, I know.
Oh, yes. Well, and he just cordially, and the cat certainly might agree with you. Maybe the cat's going to be your help on Saturday. Show me.
I'm with a bunch of unprofessional things in this house. They don't even know like what camera awareness is.
It's okay. I mean, can pets make an interference in the match on Saturday? I mean, are pets allowed to interfere in the match? I mean,
they usually land on their feet. I could probably throw a couple at him.
Well, don't they say cats have 9 lives?
Yeah, I mean, they'll be fine.
You might have 9. Maybe you'll have 9 lives coming up here this coming Saturday. But he's the owner of the company, and you mean to tell me that you're going to take control of the company? Help me understand this.
I don't need to take control of it. I'm just going to make him go away for a while, and if that means once he's gone, we slowly start to kill off Amplified, so be it.
But why do you want to kill off Amplified though? Why? Why do you want to kill them off?
Why not? Why not?
Well,
I like to think of it. There are plenty of explanations for chaos, and killing it off is one of those paths that we can take. I think that's the appropriate path right now.
Well, Van Hansen is a Megadeth fan, and certainly killing is my business. And certainly, while he didn't have the killing is my business wall decorator hanging up on Tuesday's show, certainly it might be killing, might be your business here coming up. And I'll hold on to that thought. I do want to say hello to one of our most recent Hall of Famers, kind of like you in a way, hardcore guy, likes to mix it up, kind of in the vein of Bruiser the Brody, and has a whole bunch of different characteristics similar to you. And he's getting ready for another match also this coming Saturday, which we're also supporting and sponsoring on Sportzwire Radio. What a small world. His name is Mr. Jamdog. He is the Carnage Hardcore Champion from Cutlery Championship Wrestling. Probably heard of them. And he's up at...
I believe I saw one of his most recent matches.
Yeah, he's up at 3:28 in the morning. And again, my thought is, why are you up at 3:28 a.m.? And he did, by the way, appreciate the run-in from the Cats. Yeah, I told you that people would like the pet
professional, I swear.
No, it's okay. The pets probably would draw more viewers than me talking to anybody else out there in Sportswire. So no, I would say keep the pets interfering, keep them running in.
It'll boost up the views for my promos, anyways. I know
I'll
that.
tell you what, listen. You know what? I think we want the pet vote at this point. People talk about different things. Give me the pets on Sportswire any day of the week. So obviously, let me get to a ton of people before I come back to some different things here. I want to first of all say hello to my buddies out there in Tennessee, Backyard Wrestling, who I also have their merchandise, and I'm wearing my DBW shirt on. And a few days ago, I had my TBW shirt on. So how you doing to our friends in TBW? Also want to say hello to the owner of the company, Mr. Joshua Allen. How you doing, Mr. Allen? And they're getting ready for their season also to take place. And Mr. Hansen would like to say who TF fill in the blanks with that might be running the Amplified page right now. I got to investigate. Peace, Tom. Get Ben Castelli. So I told you. I'm going to come back to that in a second, by the way. And see, I told you, Jamdog says keep the pets. I mean, listen.
I kind of have to. I mean, I feel like I'm legally obligated to take care of these things now. So
long as you're not like on one of those like the Learning Channel shows where they had like people had like 30 or 40 cats, as long as you don't have 30 or 40. If you have like 30 or 40 might be a bit much for the pets. We all love our pets on Sportswire, but I tend to think that might be too many.
That's pushing it.
I always tell the story. I was a kid. I must have been like 7 or 8 years old. I was growing up in Brooklyn. Well, we'll come back to you in a second. And I remember my grandmother at the time. The one time I ever went to her house, she must have had, I don't know, 15, 16 cats. And it smelled, well, pretty much like a number one. And it was like a number one and number two. And then it was no. And at that point, it was like, okay, I'm never going back to that place. And I never went back to that place ever. So, I mean, we want to make sure our pets are loved and give them the proper, places where they can feel that way. So
I feel like when people have that many animals, it's really difficult if it's just one or two people to be able to take care of that many. So at that point, you're hurting the animals,
Well, some people, my grandmother had believed that you got to just have all of them and you just couldn't let go to them. So unfortunately, that's, definitely here nor there. But I do want to say hello also to one of the companies you happen to work for, our friends over at Versus the World Wrestling. And how you doing? Obviously, I was talking about Reunion, and Reunion had 1,100 plus views, and certainly what a great show it was. And, I'm still kind of wondering, Nicky the Gooch in the New York accent. I feel like Nicky the Gooch, he doesn't seem like somebody. Gooch. I gotta be honest, he doesn't seem like, and this is a guy who was born in Brooklyn and lived in Brooklyn most of his existence up until like graduated high school, that lives in Staten Island. I've never heard of somebody that speaks like Nicky the Gooch. I almost feel like this is just, it reminds me of like one of the characters in WCW that was playing a New York accent. But I digress. We love Nicky the Gooch, though. I just don't know if I love the accent. But let me come up here and get to some more comments here. I have a ton of them here, so let me come back to them, and I'm going to come back to a lot more things I want to talk about here with you. I want to say hello also to our hardcore king of Sportswire Radio. He is the Hollywood Titan. Hey, Tom, if James shows up, meaning James Taylor on Rampage, I want you to moderate a meeting between us if a match happens. I would certainly love to do that. I was on James Taylor's show at like 12:30 in the morning. He invited me on. All I do. Well, because that's all I'm ever doing is in front of Sportswire. So that's why he referenced that. I thank you to Mr. Titan for tuning in. And I'm sure I'm going to probably see you this weekend. So stay tuned for that. Kid Mike would like to point out, don't forget we have the longest females champion in EPW history, Raina Black, on our side to take out Nyx. You concerned about that at all?
Not concerned at all. you've seen that she
Why not?
mixes it up with people in the men's division all the time. So
True.
congratulations to her for being the longest reigning females champion. But Nyx, not worried about it at all. She can handle herself.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm sure going to come back to this.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
I want to say hello also to our breakout star of DBW this past year. Congratulations on that. I know I'm going to see him in a few weeks. One of my frequent buddies here on Sportswire, Mr. Big Tex. Congrats, Brandon. Funny joke incoming. I seem to have a bullseye for your knee every time we get in the ring. Is this a running joke or it's literally a...
I guess it'd be more slapstick than a running joke.
Oh.
Yeah, he does. Every time I do a running knee, it seems to be at Big Tex, but I would just say Caden Phoenix isn't in the ring when we're doing it, so you're the next person that has to take the knee. Sorry.
Well, my next point would be, so how does the running knee feel, Mr. Big Tex? I'd love to know.
How does it feel?
How does the running knee feel?
I'm not taking it.
And I want to say hello. There's a lot more people, so I'm just going up here the screen.
Sure.
My buddy Nicholas Crenson, also in the Hall of Fame. How you doing, Nicholas? Good to see you. Nicholas is out there in the Midwest in the friendly confines of WC and the IMF. And evening, gentlemen. Yes, I'm doing well, Nicholas. I hope you are as well. I want to also say hello to another one of your fellow colleagues in the Hall of Fame, Mr. DBG. How you doing there, my friend? You might know this person. Maybe you know them. You might know them.
I think I'm pretty familiar with them.
might be somebody you've seen at an event, maybe somebody that maybe you've shook hands with before, maybe
I think we might have passed in a hallway once before. I think
it's always funny. I know this happens a lot on Sportswire where there's a wink and a nod of somebody what we might know, and I always kind of introduce them in those ways, and people off the air say, why'd you do that? Well, we like to play around on Sportswire. My buddy Ethan Sorensen. Ethan, I know has a bunch of questions, but I'm going around the horn. How you doing, Ethan? Great to see you. And this individual that might know you says, "Congrats on being a part of the Hall of Fame. You deserve it," and gives you 2 hearts. I mean, Valentine's Day was last week. Indeed. No?
Yeah, I'm getting double Valentines here. I'm loving it.
Cupid must have shot you an arrow, huh?
Well, I got a big hole in my chest from the arrow there, so yeah, definitely.
Well, "Hole in My Heart" is a famous ballad, after all, from a band from New England, Extreme. So I mean, certainly that's an Extreme reference there. Yeah,
I didn't even realize I made that.
Everybody thinks of More Than Words, but they had another hit which made them a 2-hit wonder, and that's the other hit was "Hole in My Heart." Congratulations, Brandon. Yes, he definitely does.
Thank you.
Let me see, and Big Tech says that again. Also want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Michael Christian. Michael actually retired his stepdad. What an irony there. He retired his stepfather in XCW, Festus Davis, the senior official. He actually wrestled him in a hardcore match. And he actually, is somebody that can say that he retired his stepdad. I mean, certainly, Ace Christian couldn't retire his dad. Mr. Judgment, but he may have some, tougher luck with that. But Mr. Christian was certainly able to pull a sister Christian like victory over Festus Davis, his stepfather. You can't call it a showcase match when I had 2 Hall of Famers and the future. I suppose that was a funny joke. Also here, yes, it has been updated, and I also want to, while I have a chance, before I present to you something in a few minutes here, I want to also present this here on the screen. I think it's going to pull up here right now. I don't know where. There we go. That's it. Yeah, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? If you want to buy some merchandise, you can actually do that. And guess what? You can actually buy the shirt for the show coming up here. I'm going to read it off here. Coming up February the 24th, this Saturday, Fight for a Cure. Fundraiser for Evangeline's fight against Ewing sarcoma, only $15, and it's going to be between Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling at McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania. The doors open at 6 o'clock. Showtime, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 151 East Cherry Street. And guess what? You can buy this shirt now just for that price only. I mean, what a deal. But guess what? Even better, for $15, you can go out and watch this show. Brandon, I say it all the time. I saw Argyle last weekend and spent $20+ and it was a disaster. I saw Aquaman 2. It was a disaster. Spent more money on that. I saw Beekeeper not once but twice. Spent more on that. But I could go out here and watch a slew of stars like Mr. Judgment, like Chase Wakefield, a man in the Hall of Fame, like your match, like that Bear Rumble that Big Tex is going to be a part of for only $15.
A little something for everybody there.
Little bit, almost like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. Well, there's pretty much 31 flavors of all types of wrestling.
Yeah.
And you get to go for just $15, and there's only a handful of tickets left. And yours truly going to make sure that we go right over the finish line. I promise you, we're going to make sure we get right over the finish line. So we're going to definitely make sure we make that happen. But let's pull this off the screen for now. We'll come back to it and say hello. We'll make you a little bit bigger on the screen because everybody wants to see you bigger. You're welcome. Should be cake work, Van. Oh, he talks about your match. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me on that. I have a lot more comments. VTW and TBW. Yes, I would love to see VTW and TBW exchange pleasantries because they're two of my favorite companies. And DBW. You know, I do got the DBW shirt. If I don't say DBW is one of my favorite companies, I mean, you know, I
was going to say, I mean, you're wearing the shirt for no reason then.
I'm an idiot at this point. What people think I'm an idiot to begin with. Probably the guy that interviewed you 5 years ago probably thinks I'm an idiot. But, you know, I want to at least make sure that, you know, I got my DBW shirt and promote Dominant Breakout Wrestling. Also, let me come back to a lot more comments. I'm way behind here. It sucks to be honest about the running knee. So love you, Brandon. And also, and, you know, I got to say hello to another Hall of Famer that wants to exchange pleasantries. And guess what? You know him, you like him, and he's going to be in your chair next Thursday, right around this time, and he's going to be in action next Thursday night. He is one half of the XCW Tag Team Champions, and I was wearing his shirt earlier today when I was on the air with Sugar Ray Taylor, the legendary Sugar Ray Taylor, now of CCW. I am talking about none other than the first real wrestler, the man that almost patents himself off Hot Rod Roddy Piper. We are talking about Mr. Justin Parsley, Mr. Parsley's himself on all social media platforms. Go follow me. He's the first real wrestler, one half of the XCW Tag Team Champions. And he says, one of my favorite talents. Good evening, Justin. He's obviously talking about you because I have very little talent to begin with.
Hey, I was going to say, I mean, Tommy could be talking about you too.
No, I can't even, listen, I can't even tie my shoes. So obviously he's talking about you. So, you know, obviously from one Hall of Famer to another, he says hello. And hopefully maybe that'll be more than a hello one day.
Hey, hopefully, never say never. I really appreciate that. I'm a huge fan of Justin.
Me too.
Huge fan of his work. He's a great guy too.
Good man.
So nothing but the best for him. All the love and respect and all that. So appreciate that.
Now, speaking of somebody that you probably don't have the same pleasantries for before I actually present to you something. Probably heard of him. You've wrestled him. You come up short against him. Maybe even in another life, in another company, with another alter ego, came up short against him not too long ago, sadly. And, you know, he's actually the Enterprise Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He is also the DBW World Heavyweight Champion. And his name is certainly Mr. Judgment. You heard of him?
Yeah, I think we faxed one another like years ago. I think we exchanged AIM chat names and stuff.
Is that still a thing, by the way? Does AIM chat still exist?
I don't know. I assumed probably not. But I take exception to your comment. I'm going to make a slapping noise off of your bald head before you know it. Don't you worry about that. And I'm going to cross you up so hard you are going to need another pacemaker put in. This, I guarantee you.
But, did you just say that the prophet of purgatory, Mr. Judgment, the man who needs no introduction, has a pacemaker?
He's 1,000 years old. Do you expect any less, Tom? The man is older than time. And you don't think that he's going to need something for his ticker?
Well, he's the world champion of multiple places, though.
That's great. And before you know it, he's going to be losing those titles. Like I said, slapping noise, bald head, going to be him. Oh, man, I can't wait. I'm going to take like duct tape. I'm going to put it right across that friggin' beard of yours. I'm going to rip it off. I'm going to hit you with the knee. And that's it.
That's a little, you know, I was a little taken back by that. Mr. Judgment as a pacemaker and talking about the age. And everything else there. I mean,
Hey, listen. He knows, keeps calling me mortal filth and everything. You keep saying you're infinite. You're 1,000 years old. Your time is coming. Before you know it, you're going to get yours. Just like I gave you that 1916 at VTW, impaled myself on the steel steps, almost killed you in front of your son. It's going to happen again. And this time, I'm going to get the 3 count. Whether that's for the YouTube title, whether that's for the DBW World title, whether that's for the Amplified title, I'm coming for you.
But that other company that's VTW though, that wasn't Mr. Judgment though.
Yeah, but it's just like how I am kind of in there as a different person. That's him. You look at that face. But you see him out there. Tom, listen. He did the same exact move he did to me at Danger Zone, to the outside, to my face, right here. Every time I yawn, I hear a pop in my jaw.
But they like him in VTW, though. They seem to like him.
I don't like him.
Well,
they need me in the face.
I could understand that. I sympathize with you on that. But they like that person in VTW. Now, DBW and Enterprise, I am sure that that's not the case. But that might be a different person, though, is what I'm trying to say.
It's all the same. They're just blind. They can't see it. I'm going to make them believe. I'm going to make you believe. And I'm going to make everybody else know the truth. Looking right at you, Judgment Christ.
All right. Well, he does have a bunch of comments here. I am the first prophet in the Hall of Fame. Well, I mean, I didn't induct you yet in the Hall of Fame, but I plan to induct you in the Hall of Fame unless I'm missing something. I mean, is Mr. Judgment...
Are you dying of dementia? Are you not aware of what's happening?
This is
what I told you. He's like 90,000 years old.
You know what this reminds me of? I can't even bring this up again on Sportzwire. We're here with Brandon Castelli, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Reminds me there was an old folk segment on Nitro once upon a time. It was Piper, Flair, and then it was like Scott Hall was roaming around, who probably really was, unfortunately, probably having some substantive issues at the time. And
probably,
I guess maybe that's what's here. But unless I maybe am missing something, that Mr. Judgment's actually in a Hall of Fame. Does anybody have any comment on that? Does anybody know of Mr. Judgment being in a Hall of Fame other than the Sportswire Hall of Fame? But I do know he's the final boss, and
he also wants to say infamy.
He wants to say you're in sin, and thank you, Nicholas Crenson, because I actually was wondering what happened to AIM and Instant Messenger and AOL died years ago. Does anybody even use America Online still? I mean, does it still exist? America Online? You've got mail. America Online. You've got mail.
I don't think so.
Well, that's certainly good to know. Also, I am infinite in caps locks. See, I told you. See, did I tell you? That was Asher Christ. I told
you.
Asher
Christ. Judgment.
Different people. Coincidence. It's got to be coincidence.
It's a coincidence. Whatever. I will make everybody believe the truth. All right? I'll make them all believe the truth. And next time, there'll be no next time.
But Mr. Judgment might say, in the famous words of Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, but you can't handle the truth. He'll probably say it more like, you can't handle the truth, you mortal filth bag. It's Mr. Judgment here.
Yeah.
I was trying my best, Mr. Judgment. But I actually want to say hello to somebody that is also in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, who's actually seems to be on your side for a change. And he's one of my favorites, by the way, because I am wearing my DBW shirt, and he specifically mentioned Sportswire Radio on DBW TV. He mentioned it specifically on Thursday Night Thunder Punch, and this man, I have to say, I know you might have some issues with him in that particular context, but in this context, he is also in the Hall of Fame. He is our global champion. His name is Mr. The It Factor Cyrus, and he would like to say, I am tongue twisted. He would say, good evening, gentlemen. Please, for the love of all things, you love to maul. Take care of that parasite, Van Hansen. By the way, Van Hansen, last I saw him in a ring, at least on my YouTube screen, he lost to the It Factor Cyrus, so Cyrus is reminding us of that. He seems to still be rattled by our encounter. We had easy pickings.
Yeah, The last I saw as well, he was beaten by Cyrus, and it seems like he was distracted by other things. So I have to agree. This is going to be easy pickings. And once I take my pound of flesh from Van Hansen, like I said before, Amplified's days are numbered. We're going to run it. And then the rest is going to be history.
Well, I mean, I suppose that there were things here. And speaking of management of DBW, and I'm glad somebody's taking notice. There's my shirt. We love Brandon Castelli. He is absolutely one of our top guys. Looking forward to the 2024 season. And who mentioned, by the way, in his speech, yours truly, that you were a mainstay of DBW.
I appreciate that. And DBW management, I'm still waiting on my contract. I haven't gotten it in the mail yet. So, I believe you know what my address is. So hopefully, I'll get it in a couple days and I can sign and we can keep doing this thing in 2024. Hopefully.
But you mean to tell me that DBW might not have your address anymore?
It's possible. I mean, pretty sure I updated it. I just updated it at the post office. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. That's good to know. I mean,
I want them to make sure that they mailed it to the right place. I mean, them being in Falling Waters, West Virginia, it's a bit of a drive from where I'm at, so I don't want to have to drive all the way there just to sign, and then nice.
Yeah, I actually couldn't go out there, and management of Amplified Wrestling, you'll probably know who it actually was that sent it, but I actually wanted to make sure that we could actually put the poster on the screen because I actually couldn't do it actually takes a while, ladies and gentlemen, I have to convert the post, I have to put it up, but I actually just wanted to put it up right there so you could actually see.
There you have it.
Oh, match, and you could see my email address, and if you want, take my phone number too while you're at it. But
yeah, all right, I'll do that too.
Take me, and people might want my address, but we always thank you for the support. Yes, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to the Blaze Ace Christian coming on here this Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's coming here to take his place in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and the Blaze Ace Christian, the youngest Rumble winner, I believe, in history, at least the youngest VTW Rumble winner. If it maybe
that's for sure.
And by the way, I'm still trying to figure out though who has a worse haircut, him or Robert Pearson. I'm going to say Robert Pearson by a country mile.
Oh God, damn.
Mr. Pearson's probably listening to this. Is like, why do you keep ragging on my haircut? And I'm like, well, I mean,
I'm assuming it had to have grown out by now, right?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think he's coming on to Sportswire in a couple of weeks. Actually, I've heard through the grapevine he's coming on. So
just we'll have to see.
Good question. That's a good question. Nicholas Crenton likes the fire in you. Yeah, it took you a little while to open up, but you certainly seem to have the fire now.
Hey, well, listen, I want you to still know that I still have it there, but.
Well, I saw the promo like 7 weeks ago where you talked about Van Hansen beat to the H, and it was almost like you were humble, you were sort of modest, and you're on Sportswire. You're on the guy's podcast 5 years ago you were on. Come on. I thought you know me by now.
Damn. Yeah, you're just going for blood. I love it. I love it.
Well, I am going for blood, but I want to stay on this for a second, and I do want to present you something because I actually do want to give you something. We actually have something I'd like to recognize you with, but Van Hansen said something to open the show Tuesday with Kid Mike, and I'm curious what your thoughts were. Speaking of DBW, and it was kind of a different tone from Van Hansen, from the tone that I saw last month when he came on Sportswire. And he talked about, almost in a way, it was trying to blur the lines between kind of like, I don't know if he was trying to imply certain things. He talked about management. He talked about opportunities. He talked about all these different things. He went about one approach against Cyrus, and now maybe it's time for a new approach. And, A, I was wondering what your thoughts might have been on that on Tuesday's show. And B, maybe conversely, that gives you motivation for coming up here this Saturday in the Sportswire Radio Showcase match that, you know what? Van Hansen said a lot about your company, what you've been a mainstay of. You've been a DBW mainstay for years. You've been in the company. You've done a lot. You've been a top guy. And it seemed like Van Hansen, a relative newcomer to DBW, and Kid Mike, didn't seem like that they seemed like they loved DBW, and it almost seemed like they were piling on a company. And maybe it sounds a little personal coming up here this Saturday. What do you say about all that and your reactions?
Well, a little personal.
Mm-hmm.
When we first came with this challenge here, I personally thought that this was just business. Him and I settling things and Amplified, my debut into the company, my introduction to the company, a little one-on-one action here to showcase what I have. But you taking exception to my comments about your former tag partner, talking about my fiance, bringing all these things up, now we're personal. Now it's a little bit more interesting because I don't have to hold back now. And you aren't going to have anybody that's going to go out there and help you. You're stuck with me. And I'm going to tear you apart. And then when I'm done with you, I'll go to Kid Mike and I'll go through the rest of your little group there. And I'll be the last one standing. And we will be the ones running Amplified. So enjoy your few moments there of riling me up on Sportswire and talking about DBW. Enjoy it because you reap what you sow, and you sown the field of despair, and I'm here to collect.
All right, let me ask you a question. You are the mauler after all. You've been unhinged. You've been, some would say, might even be a sneaky Pete, although I don't know. You certainly rock hard, though. You certainly rock hard, but do you think it's mind games, or do you really think it's personal between you and Van Hansen?
I, at first, didn't think it was personal at all.
No?
To me, it does seem like he's trying to take it to that level.
Yes, I would agree.
With the frustrations that you have with DBW, I get it. I mean, it's tough.
It's a tough roster.
I won the global championship in my first challenge. So I understand it can be frustrating when you were beaten clean. I get it. But then coming to me, trying to vent your frustrations with that's not going to work for me. And I'll show you on Saturday why that's not going to work for me.
But wouldn't that frustration have nothing to do with you? I mean, Van Hansen's success or lack of success in DBW, I mean, as far as I know, Brandon, right, doesn't have anything to do with you necessarily.
I thought it didn't have anything to do with me either. Yet here we are. Here we are talking about DBW and then bringing up myself, bringing up Nick's, bringing up this coming weekend. It's hard to not put it in that perspective. So I see what he's laying down. I get it.
You think he's jealous? You think he's jealous?
I'll oblige.
You think he's jealous of you? You think that he's jealous of Nick's? I mean, everybody loves Nick's. I mean, only you can love Nick's.
Only I can love her. So that does make a lot of people jealous.
You think he's jealous of that?
Hey, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say he's maybe jealous of that, of what he can't have, but I would say he's probably jealous about other things. I mean, my DBW, me making his former partner scared enough that he didn't want to face me anymore. And
he mentioned that the first. Well, to be fair, he mentioned that the first time he was on Sportswire, more so the second time, and I think that's a more fairer take. That's a more fairer assessment. I would agree that I think that the hostility, comes from that. Absolutely. I think that there would be, you'd be a fool not to think that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of people that want to say hello. I'm going to let them do that. My buddy Skulls is out there. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm just getting back home after training for my unknown opponent on May the 18th. That's very good news. I hope that you continue to actually do that. And Skulls actually gave me something, which I'm going to open up, I think, tomorrow on the air because I don't have it in front of me. And I had like 4 pages of paper that I actually was reading off.
I like it.
Yeah, I've been trying this. I think I'm getting the hang of the speeches, but I don't know if I should do more loose leaf paper. But that's
I
here
like
nor
the
there.
loose leaf. I like it.
You like it? All right, maybe I'll keep it. I got to figure out how to read my chicken scratch better, though. But that's here nor there. But thank you, Skulls. Skulls is awesome. Skulls, I look forward to opening up your envelope here on the show tomorrow. Nicholas Crenton says to bring out the best in someone first, you need to bring out the worst in them. You think that you brought out the worst in Van Hansen, or you think conversely he's brought out anything different than you? That's an interesting point.
That is a good point, and I think I'll have brought out the worst in him come this Saturday.
Interesting. Well, we've obviously been speaking a lot tonight, Brandon Castelli. Obviously, I'm still going to ask you a few more things.
Sure.
But, obviously, you're in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and congratulations. You're officially our 43rd member, third member of the fifth class. But, Brandon, unlike the Hall of Fame that the WWE has, we don't just let you go speak. We don't just give you, a few moments and people cheer for you. We actually give you something on Sportswire Radio. We actually present to you something that officially may proclaim you as a member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. I am sure Chase Wakefield could vouch for that. I am sure DVG could vouch for that. I am certainly sure my good buddy, maybe not so your good buddy, Cyrus the It Factor, can vouch for that. But I would actually, if only you insisted, Brandon Castelli. I know you might be unhinged at times. You might be a mauler. You might rock hard. I don't even know what other side at this point. I should just call you like Brandon Castelli. You're almost like Madonna. People just call her Madonna. I mean, you're maybe like Brandon Castelli. I don't know if I should call you the rock hard, the mauler, the unhinged. Some may allege you Sneaky Pete. I'm just gonna call you Brandon Castelli going forward. But forget all about that for a second. Brandon, only if you insisted, I would like to present to you something that would actually show that you're a member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Now, it's up to you. You don't
By
have
all means.
Okay. So you sure? So you want me to bring this up on the screen? Only if you insist.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you ready for it?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's see this.
Drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen. So you actually have it here first. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on this date here, in this moment that you were watching us live, Brandon Castelli, our mauler, and he might rock hard, who might be unhinged, and who knows what else, is officially now our 43rd member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame on this date, February the 22nd, 2024. It has our Sportswire Radio logo. It has your name. It has my John Hancock, my chicken scratch, kind of like my writing for the speech to have inducted you into the Hall of Fame. And I'm having fun with it. But congratulations, Brandon. I think after we're off the air, if you'd like to give me your information, I can email this to you very easily. Yeah, I'd love to do that for you, only if you would accept. Actually, I'd hope you'd accept. But, this is here officially stating you're in the Hall of Fame. And I like to think that, in sports, baseball has a Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Basketball has it in Springfield. Football has it in Canton, Ohio. And now Sportswire Radio, for all wrestling that matters, the Hall of Fame is here with us. So, Brandon, I would certainly like you to have this, and I wanted to show that for the audience here watching and listening this, that officially proclaims you to be a Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer.
Tom, I once again, I can't thank you enough. I'm so appreciative. Like I said before, I don't deserve it.
Well, certainly. I'm not going to put you in the Hall of Fame. It's like in WWE, I think there's been this movement to unput the artist formerly known as Sunny, aka Tammy Lynn Stitch, out of the Hall of Fame because unfortunately she was involved in a horrific thing that I believe killed somebody with a drunken driving, incident. And, I can understand in that particular instance or moment that she might be wanted to be taken out of the Hall of Fame, but I don't think we want to take you out of the Hall of Fame, Brandon. I mean, I don't think we're having a movement to take you out of the Hall of Fame. I mean, we're kind of dumbfounded, Brandon, about that.
All right. Well, if you insist.
Yeah, I kind of do, actually, at this point. I kind of do. But, and see, I told you here, I think a big fan of yours, big fan, very big fan of yours. You might want to, say hello to. Yeah, you might want to, thank this fan. You might want to,
I'll don't worry. I'll thank her off the air.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah, and I try to give back.
Oh, it's nice. It's very nice of you.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
nice man, but I think I don't want to see you to be too nice in the ring this Saturday because after all, you're on
Oh
the
no, don't worry.
Sportswire radio show.
This is merely a courtesy for Sportswire. Don't worry. This Saturday
Well, you don't
will be
have to be
nasty.
that way on Sportswire. You've been here, what, 3-4 times already? I mean, you know the drill on Sportswire.
Hey, listen, I figured I see all the people on Sportswire lately that get, all riled up and work
We
themselves
do.
into a shoot and,
Yeah.
you know,
We have that, but it's so funny though. Today we had a guy, Sugar Ray Taylor, who was trained by Marty Jones, who's a living legend when it comes to the world of sport days in the UK. And he's actually wrestled here in the US, and he's wrestled, some big names around the world. And he was like you, almost like humble. He's like, Tom, it was almost like he didn't want to say anything negative about anybody. It was like, come on, you're in the ring on Saturday. Give me something. It was like he just couldn't do it. He was just the man. I mean, the man's a legend. It was like, okay, yep, whatever you want, though. I mean, the guy had more arms than Scott Steiner did. So it was like, okay, yeah, whatever you want. You're Sugar Ray Taylor. And he was a boxing champion, by the way, as an amateur. So I'm like, okay, yep, I'm going to let you say it. But I mean, we do kind of like some of the riling up. But I do want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Levi McDaniel from the IMF. He says, top of the night, fellas. I saw him earlier today. And now I see him here once again. I think I see him in a couple weeks now. He's going to be back on Sportswire, I think, the 15th. I think we have the guys on the 15th. So we're going to see Levi and everybody else here in a couple of weeks. Levi, thank you for all you do for us here in this sport. I hope you're doing well. But we are here right now with a man that I'm simply calling Brandon Castelli. But I'm also proud, despite what he may think or may not think, proud to have him in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is our 43rd member. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here. And if you are on Sportswire Radio, I would hope you give us a sub on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579. Check us out on Twitter at Thomas Price 2017, Twitch at Sportswire Radio. If you're on Twitch, I am on Twitch now. I am also on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. We just surpassed 750 followers. We are also on sportswireradio.org, which is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year internet radio station. If you have a podcast, if you'd like to play live music, or if you'd like to hear yourself heard, I take care of all those costs for free. So unlike many other people that say you can be on the radio and I'll charge you hundreds of dollars a week or a month, I take care of all those costs because, well, I might be as rich as that guy with the initials VK. Well, not quite that rich, but I mean, certainly, I would say comfortable enough that I could certainly easily do that. Maybe buy out a couple of wrestling companies. Yes, I might be available TNA. If you want to sell TNA, I actually would say that I'd be open to that if they do want to sell it. But that's here nor there. But if you do want to have your own podcast out there, we're on sportswireradio.org. And anytime we have a great number of shows, podcasts, so many different things out there in the world. You can get in touch with me anytime with that. We're going to have more coverage here coming up tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern time. We induct Sugar Ray Taylor's very good friend and mentor, Mr. Carnage, our fallen brother, Sean Duffy, into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. We already have the link up, so if you're around anytime in the afternoon, want to say hello, just see the ceremonies and just see us talk about a great man that we miss dearly. That is Mr. Carnage, Sean Duffy. I'll also be here at some point with a guy that simply calls himself ADT from the Alliance Wrestling League. He will be inducted into our Hall of Fame, I believe, in the 8 o'clock hour, so right before SmackDown, right around SmackDown, depending on where you are. We'll be back with him. But until then, we are here with Brandon Castelli, who, get this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be in a match that we're actually a part of, which is the Sportswire Radio Showcase match between Brandon Castelli and Van Hansen at the Fight for a Cure for Ewing sarcoma for Little Evangeline. You can go to Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling's Facebook pages if you want to buy one more ticket. There's still a few left, and yours truly is going to make sure we get over the finish line come hell or high water.
Oh, we'll get
Brandon,
there.
we are going to get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there for sure.
Oh, we're going to definitely get there. I believe
we'll do you proud by this showcase match for sure.
Boy, all pressure now on me. All pressure's on me now to have, when you guys come back on next month, the pressure's going to now be on me to talk about this match, especially now because I have Chase coming on in a few weeks, and I'm going to be calling one of Chase's matches. Next thing, I'm going to put it out there. I'll have to call your match and, kind of have maybe your, I'm offering it. I mean, I just called James Taylor's match with Jack Delta. I mean, if I'm calling Chase's match, I mean, why not call you and Vans, So I'm sure Van,
you want to call for sure.
I would definitely do that. Van Hansen, I know you're going to hear this later on, when you come back on the show. I mean, hopefully a birdie sends me the tape, and maybe we'll watch the match live, and I'll give my commentary, and maybe have you both on at the same time. I don't know. I mean, that's if you guys can stand each other. I don't know what the tension is going to be like on Saturday, but I digress. I wanted to ask you personally, though, what does Fight for a Cure mean to you? Obviously, it's been a show we've been putting a lot of effort here on Sportswire. As you know, I am personally supporting it. I have obviously talked a lot about it on my different shows, which I feel like all I am on these days is on Sportswire. But all seriousness, what does the show mean to you? And just this young girl that is going through something, and this event and how important it is. Just talk to me about your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'll peel it back, and I know I've been pretty tame the whole show, but
we'll remove this to make you feel comfortable. We'll take the match off the screen. Go, I feel better now.
For the sake of this as well, I feel like this is a really good cause for her. It's definitely a terrible circumstance, and it's awful, and my heart goes out to her, and just us being able to put on this show and get all these people out there to support her as well, that just means a lot to me. And for me, being able to even be a part of it, to do anything to help her and support her, I couldn't be more grateful that I can do that.
Yeah, you think about life, and obviously, we certainly joke about our struggles, we talk about them, but we have this little girl going through something, and it puts life into perspective. We have all these fortunes of wealth in different ways, maybe not to the wealth that we hoped, but the point is that we get to be able to go do things the way we want to do them, and this young girl doesn't have those luxuries, and this is why the event is so important, I think, to all of us that are supporting the event. And I think that, to me, the term "all wrestling matters," which we've used as a rallying cry on Sportswire, I think that this event in a lot of ways is the definition of it, because this is an opportunity. We go through so much in life, we go through so much in the world. We have death, we have wars, we have people divided by politics and different backgrounds and everything else, but this is where we can do good by using wrestling. We all come from different parts of the world. Every day I speak to people all around the world in all different parts of the country. And this event is a way that for a few hours we can help this little girl who's dealing with Ewing sarcoma, but also be brought together and do something that shows why all wrestling matters. And I think that's why, to me, as the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, your voice of all wrestling, well, sometimes, and all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce, that this is an event that is why I support this event personally. And, if there's anybody that ever wants me to support anything for events like this, you can always have my support. And I just want to say that, I really appreciate what everybody is doing to support this event and to go out there and, really make a difference, because all of the proceeds here go to this young girl. I think that's, to me, the most important. Guys and gals are going out here this Saturday because they care. They're going out here because, they want to make a difference. And I think that this event is why I'm very, very happy to support. And I want to push this event over the finish line. And I want people to go out there and do the same by going to Facebook at Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling to please go out and support this event, Fight for a Cure. And it's only $15. I mean, again, I've already said it till I'm blue in the face. I might look like I'm blue in the face anyway with the new lights, stuff like that. But the point is that for $15, it's just, everything we're going through. Go out there and find a way. We're almost there, and I know we're going to get there. But in the interest of time, it's $15. But I got to ask you now, we've got that out of the way, and obviously we'll come back. We'll give you a few more thoughts in about 15 more so minutes when we end here about Mr. V to the H. I do kind of like doing that V to the H. I don't know, something about
Oh,
that.
yeah, do you?
Something I do like.
Well,
can't help it. But, I do want to ask you, when are we getting more vlogs from you?
Oh, soon?
Put you on the spot there. Forget about Van Hansen tonight. Forget about whether you're the Mauler, you're rock hard, you're unhinged, whether you know somebody who's sneaky Pete, whatever. Forget about Judgment and whether he's might be or might not be somebody else. And I just want to know, when are you having more vlogs?
Soon. Yeah, soon. Been a little distracted as of late, so I have a couple that are coming out that are going to be definitely on tape delay, but
tape delay. Oh God.
Well, just figured that little disclaimer there.
You didn't mean to actually say that you're going to put these on like a VHS and it's on tape delay to watch these vlogs. I mean, are you going backwards in time?
That'd be kind of cool, but no, I just mean like when I recorded it and when it's actually coming out.
Okay. I was like, wow, really? I mean, you really are pushing the envelope here, Brandon. I mean,
that'd be really cool. I could try that, but
there's a guy on Instagram. I don't know if anybody saw. There's a guy on Instagram who's actually converting current wrestling shows to actual VHS. And I'm like, how is this guy doing it? But I guess there's a way now, I suppose, that I guess VHS could be in vogue like vinyl. I don't see it. I mean, I do remember being a little kid and I actually bought, it was WrestleMania 14 on VHS. I was like a little kid and I did buy it. But I mean, I would hope that the vlogs aren't on VHS, but we can see it on your YouTube channel, which I'm actually going to plug here in a second. I mean, like anything you might want to, not tell us fully what's going to happen, but any potential things we may or may not see on the vlogs?
Well, you'll see the stupid bumps that I take during that Heaven's Gate match.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Judgment. You'll definitely see those.
I watched it.
Yep. I'm going to get phantom limb pains from that for sure. You'll see that. You'll see the outing to VTW.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Very excited about VTW, which I want to get to in a minute. VTW,
and
very excited about that.
Merry Mayhem as well.
Oh, boy, I thought you really are going backwards in time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I already watched Merry Mayhem. I already watched all that stuff.
Well, you'll see it again from a different camera angle. Listen, don't call me on this stuff, Tom. All right.
Okay, now you're gonna think you'd be like that guy that interviewed you 5 years ago.
Oh God.
Oh boy, you know what? When I get shot, people are gonna remember why I got shot and why I got canceled.
I don't think that's gonna. I think he's just gonna make some negative comment on a Facebook post or a YouTube video, and that'll be it.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I'm used to that at this point. Okay, so obviously we'll have to stay tuned. We'll see it in the coming weeks. And you know what? At the end of the day, I am going backwards in time because I did watch James Taylor and Jack Delton, and I saw it like 4 times already. So we did actually watch that live. So yeah, okay, fair enough. I want to talk to you about VTW. I mean VTW right now. Let's talk about it for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, they're doing tremendous.
I gotta say, VTW is better right now than some pro wrestling companies out there with the production, with the storyline, being indoors finally. Yeah. I mean, VTW, you got to talk about being a part of this VTW season because VTW is killing it right now.
Yeah, I'm lucky to be a part of it. I'm lucky that they've wanted me to come back. I'm very grateful for the amount of times that I've been there, and also getting to be a part of this monumental transition that they're doing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
To me, like the building, I think we might have talked about this at some point, but
yeah,
to me, the way the building looks, it looks like an old school, like Territories.
Chase and I spoke about it on the air also. To me, it reminded me like Mid-South, reminded me like, Memphis, NWA, you're in
I think
wrestling show. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's awesome. I think that they're doing awesome, and they're making all the right moves.
Absolutely.
Like you said, the production quality is tremendous. I don't know how they can do that, but
it ain't through Chase Wakefield. Oops. Oh,
Jesus.
move on. But no, I mean seriously,
yeah.
it's a phenomenal product. I mean, and
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I noticed about VTW, and I've said this on shows, and I even said this with other people outside of VTW through the grapevine, because people ask me all the time about different products. All I do is watch wrestling. My life is really wrestling at this point. That's why I say all wrestling matters. But no, seriously, the flow of the show is just like, I mean, it's like running the 2-minute drill in football. It's just like everything is just like such a perfect flow. Sometimes you watch wrestling, whether it's like in the underground or like the semi-pro or the yard or, even the independent on YouTube. And like, there's like something lacking, whether it's the storyline, the graphics, but VTW has like none of that. It's almost like a flawless show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The posters always are top notch. Like we talked about, the production quality is great.
Absolutely.
The transitions and everything, the venue, the matches themselves, like all of it from top to bottom. It's just, I mean, can't beat it.
No.
No?
I think that to me right now, it's the best probably. Hope I don't bite my tongue in saying this. Somebody, if you want to get the axe out of the shotgun, go ahead and do it. I think it's the best YouTube show I watch right now. In pound for pound
Absolutely.
of any wrestling, I think it's, and we love all the companies on Sportswire,
Sure.
but I mean, I think it's just the best product right now out there. I think it's just a phenomenal product.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
and
the
all
quality
the guys
of
that are
talent,
there, they definitely, they prove why they deserve to be there.
and there's no, how can I put this nicely? You can say nothing on this. There's no filler on the roster. You know what I'm saying? There's no, everybody there is like almost in their own right an all-star. Like, to me, I think I said this on the episode with Chase. I might have even said this with Cyrus, as a matter of fact, that VTW roster, there's no like people that are there that like, they're there because, well, they're there for whatever reasons.
Right.
Everybody on that roster that's there, to me, is like a world-class talent.
Yeah. I mean, if you even took like, and these guys are legends in their own right, but if you even took like Blue Cyclone or Arborman,
I knew you were going there. Why did I know?
I got it. Listen, those guys. Blue Cyclone is a legend in the CMLL territory. Back in the 80s, we dug him up out of a crypt.
I did watch that. It's funny. You said that. I knew you were going to say that because I actually did think about, as a kid, I watched, if you ever watched Telemundo, they used to have, for a period of time, there was a WWF at the time. It was just in the Attitude Era. They had a show. It was Super Astros or something like that. And they had a show, and all it was there was a period of time actually in between the New Generation and the Attitude Era where all you had was like Spanish wrestlers in WWF. Yeah. And they would give you like an hour at a time. So I would sit there and watch, those type of guys like Arborman.
That too,
Yeah.
But like, you could take Blue Cyclone and Arborman, and you could probably match them up with any like talent from like another company, and they could easily be in the main event scene. Like, easily.
Absolutely. I think everybody on the roster is in any other promotion is a main eventer. Yourself included. I think everybody in the company, from the different companies that they represent, I think it shows that it's like an all-star show. I watch it, and it's like, everything flows. You have crossover with pro wrestlers. You have a lot of pro, I see a lot of the guys, some of them are Redemption Championship wrestling, obviously. Mm-hmm. We have different DBWs represented, certainly. We have,
ACCW.
Yep. ACCW, yep.
I think Wasp Wrestling for VTW. I'm trying to think.
Aaron Jones wrestles in like 18, and Aaron Jones wrestles in like 18 different promotions.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and I know he's the Ground Zero Texas heavyweight champion still, and
I know
the Hub City champion. There was another one I was trying to think of, but I can't remember at the time.
Yeah, he has another championship.
From all over.
And he just wrestled the Barbarian, by the way.
Yeah, no, I saw that. That was that's an amazing experience, and I'm sure sure that must have been wild. But
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, a guy that you watch growing up. I spoke about this
yeah,
with Chase when he was here. I was like, I watched the Barbarian, and now I know
yeah,
somebody that wrestled him. I'm like, wow.
yeah.
It's
That's
like,
that's
yeah, it's
crazy.
like think about it. Like, boy, it's wrestling's an interesting thing. It's a real interesting thing.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely is. But VTW is just that's
I think it's
all I gotta
like
say
I
about
said.
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, listen, totally no question about that. I have to ask you a fun question before I move on to closing thoughts.
sure.
So you think Chase Wakefield, Aaron Jones? I mean, you think Aaron Jones sees Chase as his best friend, or
Oh no, not at all. I mean,
no?
I answered that poll that he did on Instagram
I know.
almost immediately.
I
I
answered
thought,
yes, though. I have to say I answered yes.
you know what? Don't encourage him. It's like when a kid asks you every day for the same thing, just don't encourage them, because they're just going to keep, as soon as you say yes that one time, they'll keep coming back and they'll ask you every other time. And it's like him, you just got to keep slapping his wrist, keep just turning him away. Eventually he'll get the hint, but you can't encourage that behavior. So I nipped that in the bud as soon as he made that poll. I was like, no.
So you say emphatically no, nothing to change your mind.
Nothing changed in my mind.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to certainly plead the fifth on that. Chase is back on here, like I said, in 3 weeks. So I'm sure that Mr. Wakefield will continue to remind us of his
Oh,
friendship with
I'm,
Aaron
I'm
Jones.
sure he will.
And by that time, we'll be close to the DBW season, I would think. And I
Yes.
think VTW's next show will be right around the corner as well, if I'm not mistaken, or something along the lines of that. So we'll be, certainly talking about all that. But, speaking of Aaron Jones, real quick before I get to closing thoughts, Aaron Jones was here about a month or so ago. And, you mentioned correctly, he's the Hub City champion. I noticed something, though. You had some issues with Mr. Judgment, but I felt to me a little bit when Mr. Jones was brought up to the fact about Mr. Judgment and kind of reminded about what happened at Merry Mayhem and things like that. Conversely, do you think that DBW could be big enough for, let's say, Mr. Judgment and Aaron Jones? I mean, you think that that's something that maybe we'll see them cross paths again one day of some sorts? Because it seemed to me like from what I saw at the end of the season there that I'd be left to desire, no?
Yeah. I said it before. Never say never.
True.
And I definitely, my own opinion, anyways, I would definitely say it's inevitably going to happen. DBW, we have a huge roster,
Oh my God.
stacked roster, and I know
Yep.
there's a lot of first-time matchups that still haven't happened, but I know at some point Aaron Jones and Mr. Judgment will meet face to face, especially after what happened at Merry Mayhem. I mean, I don't know when. Something has to happen there.
Oh, 1,000%. I think that it's really the test of the strength. It's almost the battle of the giants. It's almost who's pound for pound the best. Maybe even pound for pound, who's the best big man in the sport, even at this point. I mean, you think about Aaron Jones and what he's done. He's the one-man revolution, and you've got obviously Mr. Judgment, a man who was here earlier, Speak No More, and that's the one match that what I might have to flip a coin. I mean, you were right there with Judgment. You were this close with Judgment. You were this close. You know it better than anybody. But Aaron Jones, I lost count how many championships he has. I mean, he's a guy that, he's an old school, Southern guy that he don't get intimidated. He don't, really get bothered by the Yu-Gi-Oh looking card looking photos and accents. He just goes out there and he's going to look him right in the eye, and it's going to be a pissing contest of really, who gets up and who's able to kind of, get up and get a 1-2-3 count over somebody. That's really what that comes down to,
Yeah, I've faced both of them, basically back to back.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I could definitely
you have the unique perspective of that. You faced Judgment and you faced Aaron Jones right afterwards.
Yeah,
right at the end of the season. Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely attest that both of them are unique in their own ways. Both of them are hard hitting. both of them have that edge to be champion. Aaron obviously comes at it at a more honorable way, and whereas as Judgment's not exactly a person that'll shake your hand and be fair about it.
He's a prophet of purgatory.
Yeah. So I would definitely say this is definitely a tough, and like you said, I would flip a coin because it could go either way.
100%.
Both of them. I honestly, the match is probably just going to boil down to they're just going to kick the shit out of each other, and whoever can't get up again is the one that's going to lose.
I think the same. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's exactly how I see the match. And you've wrestled both these guys, and you wrestled them really back to back, so you would know better than anybody else. And I almost tend to think that you could have a show, and that's the only match, and that's all you need to see because of just the magnitude of that match. So I think that would be, definitely be something that, we'll certainly be paying attention to. And of course, DBW, follow them on all their great platforms. YouTube's just passed 3,500 subscribers. I remember when they just passed 3,000 subscribers. Now they're at 3,500. And if you want to go to the DBW store, bonfire.com/store/dominant breakout wrestling with minus signs right before each one, and go out there. You can buy a shirt like yours truly has on. So definitely make sure you do that, and maybe get a Brandon Castelli shirt while you're at it. So definitely make sure he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, listen, at this point,
I'm a Hall of Famer now. I'm getting that Hall of Famer money.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yes. You are getting a certificate. We'll certainly. by the way, your photos are going up on the website. So, we certainly do try to at least, make it known. But, obviously, before we get to closing thoughts, I want to give you the opportunity for any final thoughts, any final words for Mr. V to the H, your opponent coming up here this Saturday in that Sportswire Radio Showcase match, which we're all excited about when it comes to, again, Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling's Fight for a Cure for Ewing sarcoma and Little Evangeline. Anything you want to say as your final thoughts?
Fight for a Cure. It's a noble cause, but I recommend if anybody are bringing their small children to not have them watch this match because it's going to be brutal. It's going to be violent. It's going to be bloody. Only one of us is walking away. And spoiler alert, Hanson, it's not going to be you. It's going to be me, and we're going to walk away with Amplified.
I continue to hear that, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the evening about we are coming with Amplified. It almost reminds me of the end of 2112, the Rush album, the song, We Are in Control, We Are in Control. And it sounds like Brandon Castelli might, if he gets his way, be in control of Amplified Wrestling if he wins his match and conquers Mr. V to the H, Van Hansen. And also, if you paid attention very closely before closing thoughts, I heard blood. And I didn't mean just those ketchup packets you might get with your French fries when you go to McDonald's or Burger King. Maybe that'll be a next vlog when Brandon goes out and gets French fries and figure out what's ketchup packet he wants most. No, he's talking about blood. And it ain't going to be for the faint-hearted. So I promise you that this is going to be a match that not only because we're supporting it, it's a match that any wrestling fan is going to want to go out there and see because we've seen the animosity on full display of late throughout the past month. And that's why, again, you have a chance, still have a little bit more time. Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling's Facebook pages at Enterprise Wrestling, Amplified Wrestling. Go out there and support this cause. Go out and do it for the right reasons. These guys are all doing it for the right reasons because they care, and it's a stacked show. Mr. Judgment is against Sean Phoenix. We've got the Bears Rumble. We've got Chase Wakefield and Corey Graves going by a different name now as an action. You got a lot of stuff out there. You're going to want to tune in, and obviously we'll talk about the fallout from it here coming up on Sportswire Radio very soon. My friend, I want to give you now the floor. and officially congratulate you one more time and being a part of our Hall of Fame. I'd like to give you the floor and anything else that you might want to plug, share, or say, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing you. I have no doubt in VTW ahead, and certainly DBW hopefully gets you that contract and hopefully gets you that information. NUW, and who knows where else you might show up. But until then, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say, my friend, and the floor is yours. Fire away.
Tom, again, I can't thank you enough. Very appreciative of being a part of this prestigious class here. Thank you again. I want everybody to subscribe, if you haven't already, to DBW, NUW, VTW. Obviously, go check out Amplified Enterprise. Get yourself a ticket for Fight for the Cure. Watch me annihilate Van Hansen. Buy yourself a shirt to represent DBW like Tom is. Buy yourself one of my shirts now that I'm a Hall of Famer. I got to get that Hall of Fame money. Check out the YouTube machine there. Watch the new vlog that's going to come up at some point.
I got the link up there for you.
Yeah. Follow that stuff right there. Stay tuned. I don't know if you'll see me in other places. You'll just have to keep your eyes peeled and keep your ear to the ground, so to speak, to see what's going to happen there. But there's going to be a lot of things planned for this year that's going to be pretty exciting. So,
well, it's always exciting when you come on Sportswire. I always look forward to you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I always think it's exciting. I mean, it might be more exciting than, whether Chase Wakefield is really best friends with Aaron Jones. I mean, that might be something that you might want to,
I don't know about that.
Well, I was actually trying to pull up your YouTube channel, but obviously we'll do it another time. But the main thing is, if you want to go out there, hit that sub button. YouTube, there's his link. There's also his Instagram link. Is the same. Are you on TikTok, by the way, also now? Because everybody's on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. It's same thing. I think same thing with Twitter too, or X.
Yeah, Twitter. I'm like half and half. I sometimes promote guys' Twitter.
I barely go on it anyways, but
yeah, I think Chase Wakefield now, because he wants to conquer all social medias now, has become a Twitter person, so he's on there. Ace Christian's on Twitter as well. But the main thing is, support this man. Support him on all those platforms. Go buy a shirt of his. But also, most importantly, one more time, support him this coming Saturday. Fight for a Cure, McConnellsburg, PA. It's going to be tickets only $15. Doors open at 6. First bell 7 o'clock. Be there or be square. You'll literally be squared if you don't go out there and see that match. And I'm excited about it. It's going to be him and Van Hansen in our Sportswire Radio Showcase match. And yours truly is supporting it. And I'm proud to have you in our Hall of Fame. I'm proud to obviously gotten to know you over the past year or so, and I look forward to more interviews and maybe watching the match. Actually, now I hope that Mr. Hansen can actually give me the match so I can watch it on air and actually kind of do my own commentary. I'd love to do that. Yeah. Hopefully he'd be kind, and somebody would be kind to do that. But obviously, until then, thank you for all you've done. Obviously, I'll send this to you off the air. I'm looking forward to the future, and keep up the great work. And thank you for everything that you've done in making All Wrestling Matters as relevant as it is. And ladies and gentlemen, we have now the 43rd member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He's the 3rd member of our 5th class. Some say he might be unhinged. Some might say he rocks hard. Some might say he's a mauler. Some might say he might know somebody who's Sneaky Pete. Some might even say he's got so many sides that I just specifically call him, or simply put, call him Brandon Castelli. But he's most importantly a Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the ring here this coming Saturday for our Sportswire Radio Showcase match. Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling's Fight for a Cure. He's going to be wrestling V to the H, Van Hansen. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I'll be here 3 o'clock Eastern Time to induct into the Hall of Fame the late, great Mr. Carnage, Sean Duffy. But until then, please support Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling's Facebook pages to go out and do more and support their cause and even buy a shirt or two. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling